What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, talk about other factors out there that could help the markets push more, what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. The offer ends in just 9 days. Anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the market. So, as far as SPY is going, okay, I just want to say that there is a signal that this is trying to reverse right over here in terms of its trend. But we need confirmation. If this thing does dip, we have to make a higher low compared to this low right here. And I would love to see it do that before it tries to push even higher. Now, we have some catalysts that could be used to help push this higher, but we need confirmation first. The confirmation is going to be a lot more important. So I'll talk about what that confirmation is to see if SPY is going to pump more tomorrow and what you should be watching for as time goes on. Just know this, the market dumped quite a bit, right? After FOMC came out, Jerome Powell and the Fed announced that they're going to be keeping interest rates higher for longer. They're going to be cutting a little bit less than anticipated going into like 2025 and 2026. That's at least what they're projecting so far. So that's why the market saw a bit of a rug pull. We saw the market continuing to dip like this. There was also a lot of fear about a government shutdown that was coming out from the media. And that could be part of why the market dipped as well. And then we had lots of option expirations on Friday that helped the market see a nice rebound alongside PCE data and the government shutdown being avoided. So there were a lot of factors that helped the market try to reverse after all the downside, but the question is what's going to happen from here on out. So you guys can see with the way the market's been moving. Okay, we have Apple, Nvidia, Google, lots of big tech stocks trying to make a comeback. Some of them are weaker, such as Meta and then Tesla. Besides that, the whole market did try to bounce on Friday. Now, going into tomorrow, it's going to be Monday, December 23rd of 2024. We're very close to Christmas time. Just know that at 10 a.m., we have consumer confidence. Then we have the 3 and 6 month bill auctions at 10 o'clock a.m. And besides that, we have a couple of bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. So that's pretty much it, at least coming out for Monday. Very minor data. If anything, data is going to remain very minor for the next couple of weeks. There's not too much crazy stuff coming out for the week as it's Christmas week. And typically you get low volume. And we are getting very close to when we historically get a Santa rally. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not as well. I'll be talking about some key levels involving that. There's also this news right here that I was talking about yesterday. So the government shutdown has been avoided. On Friday in the evening, the U.S. House of Representatives did pass the bill to essentially continue to fund the government until like mid-March of 2025. That was good news. It helped to, forge the first step to avoid the government shutdown. The Senate approved it on very early in the morning on Saturday. Technically, it was past midnight. And then Joe Biden also signed it on Saturday. That's the last thing I told you guys yesterday. So that's some good news. This could be used as a catalyst to push the markets. It's always a possibility. Is it priced? And I can't promise anything yet, but I do want to say that if we do try to break this resistance here at 595 on SPY, and they could use that as the perfect excuse to try to pump things higher, just keep that in mind. They could always try to do whatever they want to do to benefit their own selves, and you have to be very adaptive in a market like this. Besides that, just know the market still has some fear that is present. This should be shifting a little bit in this direction if we may manage to hold up above our levels. Momentum is still at fear. There is still some fear presence in the market. We just had one good green day after many days of sell-offs. So we'll see if this does shift more neutral if we do continue with momentum that's building. The put to call option ratio went right back up to fear because we did see a lot of put buying over the last couple of days. As soon as that happened, right, as soon as people started buying puts like crazy over the last 5 days, that's what continued. We started to see the market try to rebound instead. So it really squeezed those shorts and it ended up working against the people who started buying shorts at those low levels. So it just goes to show how the market is shifting. The VIX remains neutral. It is approaching this key support though at the 50 daily moving average. So we'll have to see if it bounces off that or not, or if we get a big rejection. So keep that in mind. The last thing is this. For the week, just know that there's nothing significant for earnings this week. Nothing too crazy. It's Christmas week, so don't expect too much. Earnings don't start officially until like the second week of January, going into the third week, which is when we're going to be looking for big bank earnings. So keep that in mind. We're entering a very quiet period for the market. So what tends to happen historically, right? There's a lot of talk about a potential Santa rally. It's always a possibility. But in order for this to happen, we have to watch for a break of structure. I mentioned this in my previous videos. SPY was on a very, very nice uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. Ever since Jerome Powell and FOMC came out, it started to get this big rejection, making lower highs and lower lows. So now, because we broke this high right here, this could be a shift in structure that could be developing. But in order for this to happen, you want to see SPY basically hold support at this 591 area. We need to try to hold above that at the very least. We could dip a little bit below it before it tries to get bought back up. And then we need to try to break past 595 after that. As long as we're above 595, I do favor upside. I think the 600s will be coming. And we have this giant imbalance to fill, which should take us all the way up into the 600s. So this could turn bullish again. It could continue the run, but this is going to be dependent on different factors. We have a good piece of news. The government shutdown has been avoided. PCE data was also very decent on Friday. So I am hoping that we get some kind of continuation to the upside. I do lean a bit more in that direction because if you guys look back at the trends, when we get these big bars and we break past our resistance, I went over this in my video from yesterday during reversal structures. We get these big green bars like here and here, and we tend to continue. Another example is right here. We had this like big downwards move on SPY. Then we got these big bars here. And then typically we just continue to go higher. Another example is right here. Kind of, I'm not seeing the best of examples here, but we started reversal here. We started to form some bigger green bars and we just continue to run. So in this case, we have this big green bar, which could lead to a lot of momentum going into next week. If we break past 595, we're looking for a big pump. If the high of the day from Friday breaks, this is going to pump a lot more. So what is my prediction? How do I think this is going to pan out? There's a chance that they just try to launch this higher just like how they did on Friday. But we need to see this thing break 595 for confirmation. If we break that, we're looking for 599 as our target, and eventually the 600s, 605 area is coming. If we lose support at 591, we're going to be looking for 588, so very close to that area. If that fails us, there's going to be a bigger dump all the way down to the mid 580s. So just keep that in mind just in case we get some kind of rejection. However, just know that because we got bought up so strongly on Friday and because we got the news that the US has avoided government shutdown, I think the news is more positive and is favoring upside a little bit more. So I lean in the direction that this might attempt to test 595, and we'll have to see if we break that to remain a lot more bullish. If so, we're looking for the 600s. But just in case, make sure you watch 591 and 588 just to be safe. But I just want to say I do favor upside a bit more looking at this structure. So I'm hoping we get a bounce and we break past 595 to remain a lot more bullish. On ES, we're looking decent, but we need to try to hold above 6,000 flat. Right now, we're a little bit below it. If we manage to hold above 600 or 6,000, excuse me, that's going to be looking very good for 60 essentially. So 60, 62 or so around the 50 EMA. There might be a little pullback right here to retest this support. This is going to be previous resistance becoming support at 59.85. Might be a little pullback there, maybe a little bit below that. As long as we try to hold that, we could attempt a reversal. Hold above 6,000. We're looking for 60, 62 as our potential target. So just keep that in mind. There is that upside potential. For Nvda, we look more bullish. We want to break past 136. If we break that, I think we fly up to 140. There is a lot of life on Nvidia because of the fact that if you look at the last couple of months, this had a tendency of just respecting a downtrend. And if you look at the last few weeks, we were rejecting off our 50 EMA, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 times we tried to break out, we just failed. But this time around, we are, doing a good job at holding up around it. So I'm hoping that this continues its push. There might be a small liquidity grab around this like 133 area before it tries to push. And as long as we get back above 136, we're looking for 140 as our target. So if we lose 133, I'm going to be a little concerned for 131. If we break past 136, I'm looking for 140. This chart is favoring 140 plus in my opinion. So watch to see if that ends up being the case. I hope we break 136. I think there's a little bit of life that's showing. For Bitcoin, it's on a bit of a downtrend here. It was trying to rebound here only to reject on the 4 hours. So we have to see if this could try to hold support right over here around this 95,000 area, maybe a little bit below that. As long as we hold it, we could attempt to rebound for 96,365. So I'm hoping we try to get a rebound and we try to get back above 97,000. I think there might be an attempt for this to try to rebound because we've already dropped so much. And we're at support around 95,000. If we lose 95,000, we could be looking for a move back down towards the 92,000s. I'm not favoring that. I think that this might dip a bit more and then try to rebound for 97,000. So just keep that in mind. Now for Tesla, we're in a very interesting place. Okay, so when you look at the daily time frame, it's looking a little bit weaker. It does favor that it might be dipping lower. If Tesla loses the support at 420 and then we lose 415, there's going to be a risk of us retesting not only 410, but all the way down to like 402, close to where this gap fill is and this 20 EMA. So make sure you watch those supports very, very closely. On the 4-hour time frame, however, you can see Tesla's range bound for now. So it loves to pump in the mornings. So for example, if you look at last Monday, we pumped in the morning, started to continue. On Tuesday, we dipped and then pumped. Wednesday, we pumped and then dumped. If you look at like Thursday, we pumped and then we dumped. Friday, we pumped and then we dipped towards the end of the day. So you guys could see that it likes to pump in the mornings. So I'm expecting that Tesla's going to try to hold 419. There's a range on Tesla on the shorter term between 419 and 438. I'm guessing we try to push a little bit higher for like the 430s, especially near 438. Then we might come down, just continue to consolidate in this range. We need to break past 438s to remain bullish and hit the 445 plus area. And if we lose 419, we're looking for a dip to 415, then eventually the low right over here, taking us down to the lower 400s. So that's your range on Tesla. I'm hoping that we get a nice push in the morning, and we could be looking for essentially a test of 435 plus. So let's hope we get that push, and then we'll see how it reacts to that. NQ could be starting a reversal structure, does look a bit more bullish. Look for a dip to retest 21,500. As long as we hold that, we could try to rebound and push for 21,800 plus. If we lose that support, we're looking for a dip closer to about 21,250. My guts is telling me that 21,500 could be tested or below before it tries to rebound and start pushing for 21,800. So please keep that in mind. For the QQQ, we look more bullish. If we manage to break past 523, we're looking for an attempt to get back up for about 528. And if we lose the support right here around 517.5, we're looking for a dip back down for 514. So the big green bar here, we do have our 50 and 20 EMAs as resistance, but we are doing a good job at holding up. So this does look to me like it wants to rebound a bit. So look for a small potential pullback. We could be retesting liquidity right over here around the 517 area before it tries to break out. As long as we're above 523, we're favoring 527 plus, and then eventually, into the 530s. So it looks more bullish, but we have to watch 523 if it breaks for confirmation. Like I said before, we look quite good. Apple looks very bullish right now. We got a nice breakout right here. Let's see if we can hold above 255. Our next target is going to be closer to 257.5. If we lose the support right here at 254, we're looking for a dip back down to about 252. But this is favoring upside for 257, so it's doing a great job so far. For Netflix, I think that this is looking decent. As long as we don't lose 908, we're favoring a push back up to about 920. If we lose the support here, we could be dipping back down to about 902. But as long as we hold above 908, I'm looking for an attempt to get back up to about 920. So I think it's looking pretty good. For others out there, such as MSTR, we are favoring upside as long as we don't end up losing support around 365. We're looking for a move for 378, then eventually up here where this imbalance is around 386. So I think we're favoring upside for 370, 378, and eventually 386. I think there's a good chance we try to continue to push as time goes on. So MSCR looks more bullish. I think 378 is a very, very strong possibility, and this is favoring upside a little bit more. For other stocks like Rivian, no, sorry, not Rivian. Celsius. This is showing some weakness. It is trying to base right over here around the support around the 226 area, but this is our range, right? Around the 226 we bounce, around 220. I'm sorry, am I saying 228? 26 is where we like to bounce, then 28 is where we like to reject. So we're just going back and forth in this range. I think that as long as we don't lose 26, we're looking for a move back up to about 28. So give it some time. We're range bound right now. I would love to see it break 28 to get back up to 28.5. So I think we're just going back and forth for now. But if we lose 26, there's going to be a dip all the way down closer to about like 20, 24 that's essentially coming. So we'll see. But just know that despite the fact that there is a little bit of weakness, it is range bound for the short term. We're getting bought back up around the 26s and we tend to reject off the 28s. So it's very tight right now. I think it most likely maintains that structure. For Supermicro, I think this is looking decent as long as we hold our support and we don't end up losing 30.8 or so. We need to break past 33.15. If that breaks, we're looking for essentially 35. So we have a slight bullish divergence that could be developing here. We're also trying to base here. So look for a test of 33.15 tomorrow. If we break that, this could try to push back up for about 34.25 to 35. So I see potential for a bounce, but we'll have to see if it could hold support or not. For Palantir, we look more bullish. This is looking pretty good. I think there was some big news that came out involving it, with them trying to forge more deals with like SpaceX and such, and just looking into that. So it looks quite bullish right now, especially as we have this imbalance to fill. I think 82 is coming. If we break that, we're looking for 85, and eventually we'll get very close to 88. So it looks more bullish to me. For others out there, we have Rivian. Rivian is looking decent right now. As long as we don't lose 13.5, I'm looking for a bounce up to about 14.5. We might dip a little bit before it tries to bounce for the 14s. So I think it looks a little bit more bullish. There's a nice green bar above our EMAs. So I think it's doing a pretty fantastic job at holding up thus far. For others out there, we have SoFi. SoFi is looking decent. So long as we don't end up losing support at this 15 flat area, we're looking for 15.76 as our potential resistance. So look for a test for a little bit more upside. For the IWM Russell 2000, I think that there's potential to test 225. As long as we don't lose 220, I favor 225 on it. I think it's doing a good job so far at holding up, so it favors upside a bit more. For AMD, we're looking a little bit more bullish. If we could break past 123, we're looking for essentially 128 as our target. So look for a break right here and then an attempt to get back up to 125 as long as we break 123. Looks more bullish to me. ARM is looking a little bit weaker. It's on a bit of a downtrend here, but you want to see it try to get back up to this resistance. So with this, let me just say that ARM needs to try to hold at least around 128 to 130. It might retest around 128 or so. There could be some like liquidity grabs right here before it tries to rebound. But I think eventually it will make its way back up to 136 and 139. So look for a dip and a bounce is the most likely possibility. For coin is looking more bullish as long as we don't lose 273. We're favoring 314, then eventually 312. So I favor upside a little bit more, and we'll have to see how well we break out right here. So look for a bounce and a break towards 290. So as long as 273 does not break, we're favoring upside. For others out there, we have Amazon. Amazon in the 4 hours looking a little bit more bullish. As long as we don't lose 223 and 220, we're favoring a move back up towards 230. So I think that's watch and see if 225 holds to push for 230. I think there's a good chance we try to continue. For Meta, we look decent. We're trying to hold 586. If we lose that, we're looking for a dip back down to about 580. As long as we hold above that, we're looking for a rebound for 595. So watch to see if 586 holds, and we're looking for 595 to 600 above that. I think there's a good chance we try to rebound in that range, and I think it's doing a great job thus far. For Microsoft, there's a potential inverse head and shoulders that's developing here. We could be dipping closer to about this 435 area before it tries to rebound. And off the rebound, we're looking for 442. So I think it's looking like a nice structure here. We could attempt a rebound for 440 plus. We'll have to see how it goes. For Google's trying to rebound here. As long as we don't lose 192, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to 196. So I see potential in this. It may try to get back up to this imbalance around the 197 area, but I want to see confirmation through a break of the 194.75 area. As long as we break that, we're looking for essentially 197.5. For GameStop's on a nice uptrend right here. We have an imbalance up here around the 31.3 area, so I do favor upside a little bit more. So give this some time to develop. AMC looks more bullish. I think that as long as we're above 4.17, we're looking for essentially 4.33 is our potential target. So I see a little bit more potential in this. For DJ tier or this new development here, it looks a little bit more bullish to me. I don't want to see it lose 33. As long as we're above that, I'm favoring 35.37 and 35.75 as our targets. There's going to be a resistance here. It's going to likely test. And if we break this, then it will be breaking out higher. So I see potential in this. The VIX is looking weaker. If you look at the 4 hour, we have imbalances below. We'll have to see if 18 holds. If not, it's easily coming down to 16.5 and eventually 15. So this is looking more bearish, which is technically bullish for the markets. The 10-year has been pumping a lot because of what's happened with the Fed, but ever since the PCE data report came out, it came down a little bit, which is what helped the markets. We'll see if this dips more from here. If it gets a little bit of a dip and retests 4.43, that could be a little bullish. And the dollar, if you look at the dollar index, it's the same thing essentially. This is fighting to see if it can hold around 107.8. If it can't hold that, 107.3 is coming. If it does hold this, it could rebound. So look for an attempt to push and then maybe a rejection. That could be causing a small dip. Watch and see if that ends up being the case, guys. But that's pretty much it for my video. As far as the market goes, we are favoring upside because we had a nice PCE report that came out. The technicals are looking like they're trying to bounce. There's at least an attempt so far. But to really be bullish on SPY, the QQQ, and the others, you want to see us break resistance. You want to see us get back above our resistance areas, especially around 595 on SPY. If SPY manages to achieve this goal and breaks 595, we're going to be looking for a bigger push. We'll see about that going into tomorrow, but make sure you watch your levels just to be safe. And just know that with the news coming out that the US has avoided a government shutdown, that does tend to be a little bit more bullish. And I'm hoping we get a nice bullish reaction. So that's what we're going to be looking out for. With that being said, do not forget that we have Christmas week this week, which means that the market's going to be closed on Wednesday. It's going to be a shorter trading week, and there's not really any or major significant data that's coming out. So just keep that in mind. With that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys so much for your attention. Please have a great rest of your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow before market open to give you guys another update. Until then, take care, guys, and peace out.